my cup of tea, flipped on the telly, it's time to see what's shaking the world from east to west. Matt Taylor's here, he knows the rest. From politics to crazy trends, breaking stories never bend. He's got a take you won't forget. Tune in now, don't miss it yet. We're perusing the news with a twist or two. Matt's got the views, giving headlines a do. From the front lines to the offbeat cues, it's a wild ride through the world's best news. Scandals triumph, laughs and cries. Matt's perspective cuts through the lies. A voice of reason, or maybe bold. Every story's got a nugget of gold. From bright and streets to faraway lands, Matt's unique take always stands. He's got the pulse, he's got the vibe, bringing the news alive, alive. We're perusing the news with a twist or two. Matt's got the views, giving headlines a do. From the front lines to the offbeat cues, it's a wild ride through the world's best news. So grab the seat, let's dive in deep. No story too big, no stone will sleep. Unfolding truth with a playful grin. Matt Taylor Show, it's where we begin. We're perusing the news with a twist or two. Matt's got the views, giving headlines a do. From the front lines to the offbeat cues, it's a wild ride through the world's best news. Yeah, we're perusing the news, and Matt Taylor's got the clues.
Hello dear world, my name is Matt Taylor and I am 8 years old, and when I grow up I want to be a YouTuber.
Matt's got the views, giving headlines a do. From the front lines to the offbeat cues, it's a wild ride through the world's best news. Yeah, we're perusing the news, and Matt Taylor's got the clues.
Welcome ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host Matt Taylor, and it is approximately 10:25 on Wednesday the 8th of January 2025. And so without any further ado, let's jump in and check the headlines from around the world. My favourite headline, let's just make sure, there we go. I like to check out the News Independent, newsnow.co.uk. And what do we have here? Musk claims English grandmother would have been abducted in modern Britain. British hikers who wanted to go off-grid in Italy's Dolomites missing since New Year's Day. Terrible. I hope they're safe. Starmer hits out at Tories over Badenoch's call for new grooming gang inquiry. Yes, that's certainly not going away. Put it that way. Disability benefit reforms and universal credit rise. All the DWP benefits changes to expect in 2025. And of course, from across the world, we've had those devastating fires in California. California governor declares state of emergency amid fast-moving wildfire. Of course, all the Hollywood greats, all their homes have been destroyed, isn't it? And of course, we're not implying for a moment that the fires are retribution, so to say. That's certainly not the case. In business, Rolls-Royce to invest 300 million in UK plant. That's good news. Irish food and drink exports increased to a record 17 billion euros. Ireland's doing well. Shell cuts LNP production. I don't know what LNP production means. Targets reveals $1.3 billion cash flow. And then very, very, very simple questions answered by Shenine at workers' rights meetings of MPs. And in entertainment, Ben Affleck looks shocked as he returns home to see rapidly advancing Pacific Palisades fire near his home. Like I said, these Californian fires are wiping out all the celebrities' homes. Perhaps we'll start with entertainment first. Meghan Markle carries Princess Lilibet through Paradise Garden at Montecito home in New Clip. I think we watched that. We love a bit of, I don't know about you, but I certainly like a bit of Meghan Markle. ITV faces cash crisis amid wave of Corrie and Emmerdale cast exits. And Jennifer Lopez film premiere in Hollywood scrapped due to Pacific Palisades fire. Like I said, this fire is absolutely decimating the homes, the Palisades of California. So, will Labour's new child poverty strategy exclude migrant children? That's one of the headlines today. In football, in sport, 2 F1 races hang in balance over Belgian Grand Prix fate confirmed. Tiger Woods steals limelight at TGL while not even playing with spectacular shot. Black Caps win action-packed shortened over Sri Lanka. But anyway, let's check out Ben Affleck looking shocked. Like I said, these fires are decimating all the homes in the California. Ben Affleck looks shocked as he returns home to see rapidly advancing Pacific Palisades fire near his house. Ben Affleck returned to an unwelcome surprise on Tuesday when he arrived home as a massive wildfire engulfing part of Los Angeles west side was in view. The 52-year-old A-lister was pictured driving up to the bachelor pad he has been renting in Los Angeles, Tony Pacific Palisades neighborhood since his split from Jennifer Lopez. He appeared to have a shocked expression on his face as he rolled up with his window down, despite the poor air quality due to the nearby fire. In addition to destroying multiple homes in the upscale neighborhood, the blaze also led to the cancellation of multiple Hollywood premieres, including the event for his ex Jennifer's latest film, Unstoppable. Ben is a producer on the film, along with his best friend Matt Damon, but it's unclear if he planned to attend the premiere, as he was largely set out publicity events for the inspirational sports drama in order to keep the focus on Jennifer's work on the screen. Ben was dressed up for the evening in a navy blue suit and white dress shirt, though he left it unbuttoned and tie-free. Oh, God. Oh, poor Ben. And of course, we have to spare a thought for all the Hollywood stars caught up in this terrible fire. I just want to go back there again because it had a map, didn't it? I saw a map of all the fires. Oh, there he is, watching his home disappear. Here we so this is very interesting. So these are where all the fires are. Not that I'm particularly clued up in that region of California. It's unclear. Oh, look at it. There you can see for yourself. Well, all these. Well, look at that. Los Angeles. So yeah, Los Angeles is burning. Los Angeles is burning. Of course, it isn't retribution for everyone who can like laid into Donald Trump. That's absolutely ridiculous. Oh look, and you can see the fires all over America. I mean, it looks like what? It looks like there's fire all over America. Are all these red spots? Are all these red spots what? What the hell is this? Are they trying to imply these are all the fires across America, across the world? Surely not. Surely not. Looks like the world's on fire. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, what else is news? What's this about Musk claims? This isn't particularly the best one. Oh, look, PM's questions live. Furious row erupts over grooming gangs. Vote as Labour slams sickening Tory move after Musk's claims. Tories told to put up or shut up as they seek grooming gangs amendment to Labour's child safety bill. A furious row has erupted over the Conservatives' bid to use Labour's children's safety bill to force a symbolic vote on the grooming gangs inquiry called for by billionaire Elon Musk. After facing Sir Keir Starmer at PMQ's, Tory leader Kemi Badenoch will seek an amendment to the Labour's Children's Wellbeing and Schools Bill, which is expected to call for ministers to establish a national statutory inquiry into historical child sexual exploitation focused on grooming gangs. I know that's semi-familiar with that, isn't it? So it's now against the law not to report sexual abuse if you hear about it. I mean, I'm surprised it's taken 2024 before that requirement comes into force. But that just goes to show how lackadaisical the establishment has been in adequately tackling child abuse. And this is opening up a bigger picture of what Elon Musk is doing, really, with, shining a light on this grooming scandal, because the grooming scandal is actually just the tip of the iceberg of a much bigger problem in society of constitutional child abuse. And actually, I don't know about you, but that was one of the reasons why I got involved with the truth movement, because we were on the brink of exposing constitutional child abuse committed by the great and good. And that was one of the reasons why I got involved, because I really thought it was about to snap. I thought the truth was going to be revealed, that all those people that we revere and we look up to are actually the most despicable in society. And it still looks like that's coming around full circle now, with Elon Musk shining the light on grooming gangs. Because one of the allegations and accusations being placed upon Labour, especially by individuals such as Paul Thorpe, who of course is a supporter of Tommy Robinson's movement, is that the reason why Labour doesn't want to have an inquiry is because the very Labour councillors and representatives are a part of the grooming gangs. And of course, that's the speculation that I've heard by Paul Thorpe. I haven't actually done any independent research on that, and I don't know. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'm just the end user. Anyway, claiming the bill is the single biggest piece of child protection legislation in a generation, Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson warned that, if successful, the Tory move would block it and kill it stone dead, calling the move absolutely sickening. Speaking to the Mirror, Sir Keir said, "No MP should be voting down children's safeguarding measures. It's shocking they are even thinking about this as a tactic. It's the elevation of the desire for retweets over any real interest in the safeguarding of children." Very interesting. Let's just take a quick look at this. Will Labour's new child poverty strategy exclude migrant children? The UK government must eliminate harmful Home Office policies if it really cares about ending child poverty. Within weeks of taking office last July, the new UK Labour government launched a new cross-government child poverty unit to deliver on its manifesto promises. The new task force rightly includes the Department for Work and Pensions, Department for Education, and the Treasury. But what we don't know yet is whether this will truly be a strategy to reduce poverty for every child, including migrant children. The last decade has seen a significant increase in the number of people in the UK living in deep poverty or facing destitution. Pressure on food banks, local authorities, and advice centres has soared as people on low incomes struggle to weather changing circumstances and stay financially resilient. At the core of our social contract is the idea that when someone is faced with such hardship, the social security system, if functioning correctly, should act as a protective barrier, preventing people from ending up in poverty in the first place. Migrant families, on the other hand, are excluded by design from this system by the no recourse to British funds visa condition. Almost all migrants in the UK who have not yet attained permanent residency, also known as infinite leave to remain or settled status, are likely to be subject to the NRPF immigration condition, as are those without current status. Currently, an estimated 4 million people live without access to the social security system in the UK because of the NRPF, including undocumented migrants and at least 500,000 children. This rarely talked about policy has extended to cover more people and has more recently extended to include people arriving in the UK from Hong Kong. Yeah, that's actually a bad indictment, isn't it? Because ultimately everyone, especially children, should be included. And well, I don't know what everybody else thinks about that. Hello, Jake. Jake's in the chat. Good to see you, Jake. We're just perusing the news. Let's take a look at Sky News. No, but this touches upon something that's very what's the word? That's in the news at the moment. Should migrants be included in the safety net of the social security system? And I personally think, yes, it should be. Absolutely, it should be, because ultimately we don't want children starving to death in the UK. And then this touches also upon the bigger picture of what actually is money. Anyway, the snow is expected today. New snow warning as temperatures could drop to -16 degrees this week. This news is expected to see the coldest nights of the year, with temperatures potentially reaching -16 degrees centigrade on Thursday night, as a yellow snow warning for Wednesday stretches from Kent to Cornwall and up to South London. I've got good memories of snow. Used to take my daughter out on the sleigh. A fresh weather warning for snow has been issued for southern England, with cautions for snow and ice already in place across much of the country. The Met Office yellow weather warning for snow covers the southern counties of England from 9 a.m. until midnight on Wednesday. The warning stretches from Kent to Cornwall and up to South London. And the Met Office said between 2 and 5 centimetres of snow could accumulate fairly widely, as much as 10 centimetres over higher ground. There we go. I'm in the southern of England. But I just want to go back and see if I can see fires across the world. Fires across the world map. Fires across the world map. View of the latest. I'm pretty quite surprised by this, actually. Okay, can you see this? Let me just make sure you can see this. Hello, everyone. Oh, hello, Brian C. Good to see you in here. Jake says, hi, Matt. Good day, fella. I pray and welfare for all. Yes, I'm going to stick with Jake on that. Welfare for all. Damn right. So stop screen sharing. I just want to show you this view of the latest fires across the world. Because while I was looking at, I mean, this just looks absolutely crazy. But yeah, welfare should be for all. So it looks like across the equator, the world's on fire. And is that common for this time of the year? And we can see less. So I expect the red means severe fires. Oh, this isn't really. Oh, look, that's the Palisades. Can you see the bunch, the clump there? There's a big clump. And then there's another set, but that's blue now. So that's all been put out in Malibu. It's very Pacific, isn't it? Eh? But anyway, back to the news. Yes, I agree with Jake. No children should be excluded from aid. Definitely not. Over to Brian. Good to see you again, Brian. We haven't seen you for a while. Exposed gas pipes freeze solid, stopping gas flow. There you go. Yes. Last time we had -16. Crikey. Gas pipes froze around England. I know. And of course, without any gas, no heating. Jake says, like you say about the ones controlled, how money is being distributed. And it opens up a whole can, doesn't it? Whole can of worms. Ultimately, money is a human construct. And we used to joke about money doesn't grow on trees. Oh, yeah, you're right, money doesn't grow on trees. It's actually created by the tap of a keyboard, essentially. Like you say about the ones controlling how money is being distributed. Money is an exhaustible resource. We create it out of nothing, and then we record it on a pie chart. They seem to be using nefarious fire causing methods at times to keep people on the back foot. That world map is quite interesting because that fire about the Palisades was quite confined, and it makes you think, why is the fire confined to that particular area? Brian says most heating systems are gas in homes. Yes. Yeah. And the infrastructure is no matter how good your plumbing is, if temperatures plummet to -16, you are fucked. Because those pipes are going to freeze and you've got nothing to nothing to help you in that respect. So yeah, this is Oh, yeah. So I heard about this today, doesn't it? This is very concerning. Soldiers concerned at time SAS had golden pass to get away with murder in Afghanistan. Inquiry hears. I mean, intentionally and mercilessly killing civilians during wartime is a war crime. And it's coming out now that our most revered and decorated soldiers, the SAS, carried out these murders during war in Afghanistan. Again, this is a terrible indictment of what war does to people. An inquiry into allegations that the SAS soldiers carried out murders during the war in Afghanistan released evidence from several special forces witnesses who gave evidence in secret. Soldiers working within the UK Special Forces discussed concerns that Afghans who posed no threat were being murdered in raids against suspected Taliban insurgents, an inquiry was told. I mean, that's just chilling, isn't it? Isn't that just chilling? Civilians who posed no risk were murdered. One soldier who was reading operational reports of SAS actions said in an email in 2011 that they feared that UK Special Forces seemed beyond reproach, with a golden pass allowed them to get away with murder. Another soldier said they were aware of rumours of Special Forces soldiers using dropped weapons, which were munitions allegedly placed near to targets to give the impression they were armed when they were shot. I mean, how many times have we seen that in the movies? Someone shoots an innocent victim dead and then places a gun next to them and saying, "Oh, they were shooting at me." This is exactly what's been happening with our SAS soldiers, our most revered and respected soldiers in the British Army were killing innocent civilians. It was also suggested that the act was known as a Mr. Wolf, supposedly a reference to the fixer Winston Wolf from the film Pulp Fiction. The claims come from hundreds of pages of documents detailing evidence given to a public inquiry into alleged war crimes committed by British Special Forces soldiers in Afghanistan between 2010 and 2013. The independent inquiry was ordered by the Ministry of Defence after the BBC reported claims that SAS soldiers from one squadron had killed 54 people. This is mass murder. They had killed 54 people in suspicious circumstances during the war in Afghanistan more than a decade ago. The inquiry is examining a number of nighttime raids carried out by British forces from mid-2010 to mid-2013. On Wednesday, it released evidence from 7 UK Special Forces witnesses who gave their evidence in secret for national security reasons and cannot be named. One of the soldiers who gave evidence to the inquiry, which opened in 2023, said they had witnessed any such behaviours themselves. Said they had witnessed any such behaviour themselves. Oh, okay. Fighting age males. One of the soldiers, known only as N1799, told the inquiry they had raised concerns in 2011 about a unit referred to as UKSF1 after having a conversation about its operations with one of its members on a training course. During these operations, it was said that all fighting age males are killed on target, regardless of the threat they posed. This included those not holding weapons, their witness statement said. Good God, what a horror that reveals. So all fighting age males, I mean, out in these regions, a young lad of 10 years old could be deemed of fighting age. So here we have evidence suggestion that SAS were going in, just killing all the male killing all the males in the room. If you're old enough, if you're old enough to fight, in our opinion, we're going to shoot you dead, regardless of the threat they posed. They could be standing there with their arms to their side, pissing themselves in fear, and then shot in the head. It was also indicated that fighting age males were being executed on target inside compounds using a variety of methods after they had been restrained. In one case, it was mentioned a pillow. What fuck? In one case, it was mentioned a pillow was put over the head of an individual before being killed with a pistol. This is horrific. The soldier said he was also informed that weapons were being dropped next to victims to give the impression that a deceased individual had been armed when shot, the inquiry heard. Such a dropped weapon was colloquially known as a Mr. Wolf, but N1799 stated he had no idea at all where the term came from. Counsel to the inquiry, Oliver Glasgow, KC, asked, when you heard it described as a Mr. Wolf, was that used by one person or by more than one person, or can he not remember? N1799 replied, at least 2 or 3 people. Mr. Glasgow continued, have you seen the film Pulp Fiction by Quentin Tarantino, where the individual who introduces himself as Mr. Wolf says, I am Mr. Wolf and I'm here to solve problems. Do you remember that? The witness said, no, I don't. Mr. Glasgow said, well, it is probably not essential viewing for anyone, but that particular individual in that film, he acts to clear up problems and to make crimes go away, does he not? N1799 responded, right, but I had not put 2 and 2 together. The inquiry heard that N1799 escalated their concerns to other senior officers who took them seriously. But questioned by Mr. Glasgow on whether they had any concerns for their own personal well-being after making allegations, the witness said, I did and still do now. So even the whistleblowers are fearing there's going to be retribution for blowing the lid on this. Mudslinging. Another officer referred to as N2107 emailed colleagues expressing his disbelief at summaries of operations which suggested detained suspects had been allowed back into compounds where they were then said to have picked up weapons and attempted to attack the unit. That's crazy. Meanwhile, a special forces commanding officer told the inquiry he believed reporting allegations of murder to his counterpart in another unit may have been seen as mudslinging. He said there was at times fractious and competitive relationship between his unit and the accused unit. In one of the hearings, he was asked whether he thought about reporting the allegations to his direct counterpart within the unit, but said it was a deliberate act to report up rather than sideways, as it may be seen as mudslinging. British military police have previously conducted several inquiries into allegations of misconduct by forces in Afghanistan, including those against the SAS. However, the MOD has said none found enough evidence for prosecution. That could be argued there was a cover-up by the SIB, Serious Investigation Bureau. The inquiry's aim is to ascertain whether there was credible information of extrajudicial killings, whether investigations by the military police years later into N1799's concerns were properly conducted, and if unlawful killings were covered up. You know, ultimately, war is not a natural state to be in. And when you are in that situation, all rhyme and reason obviously disappears. Because the SAS aren't only meant to be the best equipped and best trained, we would have hoped to think they're the most moral because of the firepower at their disposal. But it just goes to show that the war mentality affects everyone. From my own experience in the army, killing someone doesn't come easily. That's why when we had our bayonets drawn and we had to go and simulate killing your enemy at close quarters, we were trained to put a war cry on. We had to get into that mindset of kill, kill. We had to work ourselves up into a state of frenzy to then go and kill the enemy. Killing another human being doesn't come easy. You have to change your state of mind. You have to see your enemy as something less than human. And it looks like no matter how strong you are in mind, you'll still succumb to this atrocious mindset of killing people. And it seems like SAS, be it out of fear or something else, killing became the routine. Absolutely. It's scary. Brian says, is it evidence of or hearsay? Such articles will often jazz the news up a bit. This is an inquiry, and it's interesting to note this isn't an inquiry by the MOD. It was an inquiry that was brought on by a BBC investigation. No doubt if the BBC never had their own investigation, none of this would have been brought to the light. But ultimately, the paper trail reveals whistleblowers within the SAS voicing their concerns that innocent civilians were being mercilessly executed for no reason whatsoever, and that these Mr. Wolf laying weapons down beside these slaughtered civilians to make them look as if they shot at the soldiers. Considering the SBS and SAS are highly trained and highly intelligent, therefore I don't believe it without evidence. The very statement of a person saying they've seen what they've seen is actually classed as evidence. But ultimately, we've got to have faith in the judicial system, cough, cough, and see where the inquiry leads and what conclusion the inquiry makes. Good point. War is not a natural state to be in, but people have been at war since time began. As far as history shows us, yes. Yeah, that's right. Millions of people every day or so play killing games on consoles. Harmless killing, probably not. More like desensitizing the barbaric act of killing. Quite right. Yeah, so, ultimately we'll see where that inquiry leads. But what that story tells me is that people on the ground saw war crimes. They witnessed war crimes. And it's only right and proper that these war crimes must be exposed. They've got to be exposed. It's inevitable that wrongdoing will be exposed. So what's this? Piers Morgan to leave Rupert Murdoch's News UK in deal over YouTube venture. This is hot off the press. The outspoken broadcaster's production company is to take ownership of his uncensored YouTube channel as part of a deal that will see it enter a 4-year revenue sharing agreement with Rupert Murdoch's UK subsidiary, Sky News can reveal. Here we have 90-year-old plus Rupert Murdoch and Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan, the broadcaster and journalist, is leaving Rupert Murdoch's British Empire to focus on expanding his uncensored YouTube channel in the US and other international markets, underlining prominent media figures accelerating shift away from traditional outlets. This is fascinating because it's actually painting YouTube as a news platform to rival the established news platforms such as Sky. So it looks like in 2025, YouTube is seeing its ascension into up there with actually overtaking the prominence of the news legacy. Oh, I'm talking rubbish, I know. Sky News can exclusively reveal that Mr. Morgan, and News UK publisher of The Sun and The Times and owner of Times Radio, have agreed a deal that will see him taking ownership of the uncensored media brand and its existing 3.6 million strong YouTube subscriber base through its production companies, Wake Up Productions. He is understood to have struck a 4-year revenue sharing deal with News UK that will see the Murdoch-owned company receiving a slice of the advertising revenue generated by Piers Morgan uncensored until 2029. So, Piers Morgan is set to join YouTube, and a slice of the revenue earned is going to Rupert Murdoch. Mr. Morgan returned to News UK in January 2022 with a 3-year deal that included writing regular columns for The Sun and New York Post, as well as presenting shows on the company's now folded television channel, Talk TV. People close to the situation have said a book deal with the Murdoch-owned publisher HarperCollins will still go ahead, with Mr. Morgan expected to complete that project later this year. He will also continue to write occasionally for News Corporation's newspapers, according to one insider. Mr. Morgan's future has been the subject of growing speculation following the expiry of his 3-year contract with News UK at the end of 2024. As part of his new arrangements, Mr. Morgan has also signed a deal with Red Seat Ventures, a US-based agency which partners with prominent media figures and influencers to help them exploit commercial opportunities through sponsorship and other revenue streams. Just goes to show, YouTube is becoming bigger than the legacy media of yesterday. Over to Brian, who says, in on it, them lot, ain't they? First with war and the war machine, then with arms sales, then with game console killing games online, and then media killings. It makes folks giddy with anger and distrust. Well, the world is quite bombarded, isn't it, with evilness. I mean, can't it be argued that's one of the devil's tools to keep us all in fear? Brian says, Vanguard and BlackRock, I wonder who owns shares in them. Wouldn't surprise me if it's it's the King of England. No, but yeah. No, but yeah, but no. It's, ultimately everything is connected, isn't it? Ultimately, everything is connected. And if people knew the truth, there would be a revolution. Breaking investigation into Met's handling of some of Al Fire's allegations. The Metropolitan Police is currently reviewing a total of 21 allegations made before the former Harrods boss died in 2023 and referred 2 of those to the Independent Office for Police Conduct, IOPC, in November. Breaking news. An investigation has been launched into whether there were any missed opportunities or failures in the Metropolitan Police handling of some allegations against Mohammed El-Fayed. The Met is currently reviewing a total of 21 allegations made before the former Harrods boss died in 2023 and referred even 2 of those to the Independent Office for Police Conduct, IOPC, in November. The IOPC said the Met's Directorate of Professional Standards will continue to investigate the complaints, but under the direction of the watchdog. IOPC Director of Operations Steve Nuhan said there is widespread public concern about this case, with a significant number of allegations reported over many years while Mr. El-Fayed was still alive. It's important that an investigation is carried out into these complaints to identify if there are any missed opportunities or failures by officers to properly investigate these reports being made. Of course, this just ties into so many incidents where certain individuals, and Jimmy Savile springs to mind, of course, should have been prosecuted but weren't, for a number of reasons unbeknownst to the general public. Over to Brian, who says, it's a simple duality they promote. It turns folks against each other. It's scandalous. That's what it is. It's the devil's work. And it can be argued by failing to charge the great and good with crimes that were made. Allegations, accusations have always been made against the great and good. And it only turns out there were valid, warranted grounds behind these allegations and accusations after these individuals die. During El-Fayed's life, allegations were being made. Oh, don't be silly. That can't be true. El-Fayed dies. It was true. The same said with Jimmy Savile. Oh, no, that can't be true. After he dies, it was true. And it just goes to show that the people, the most despicable crimes are the ones that are covered up. Because I'm not implying allegations aren't investigated, because obviously allegations are investigated. But yet, having said that, it seems to me anyway, the worst allegations against people, the worst allegations against the great and good are ignored. Let's have a, oh God, oh, so sad. Sophie Kellerman, 6-month-old baby girl, killed in Tenby multi-story car park crash. Oh, terrible. A 6-month-old baby has died after a crash in a multi-story car park. So sad. Terrible. The Vivian, I hope I'm pronouncing that, ex-husband shares tribute to RuPaul's Drag Race star as police give update. Police were called to a house near Chester on Sunday afternoon following reports of the sudden death of a 32-year-old. The ex-husband of James Lee Williams, known as the Vivian, I think I'm pronounced that right, said, "My heart is shattered at the news." Sadly, people die. We're all going to die one day. So Jess Phillips reacts to Musk's news, what she thinks of Elon Musk's remarks. Jess Phillips has said she has more important things to be thinking about than Elon Musk after he accused her of being a rape genocide apologist. Wow. Crikey. So, what's going on in the world? Yes, the Los Angeles wildfires latest. Malibu residents told to get ready to flee as firefighters say no chance of stopping blazes. A state of emergency has been declared in California as wildfires engulf homes in the suburbs of Los Angeles, sorry, with 3 blazes spreading rapidly. More than 30,000 people have been ordered to leave Pacific Palisades, an area popular with celebrities. I mean, look, that's like hell on earth, isn't it? Crikey. Terrible. Let's spare a thought for everyone out there. Oh, this is great news, wasn't it, from yesterday? Donald Trump refuses to rule out military force over Panama Canal and Greenland as he warns NATO to spend more. US President-elect roll on January the 20th. Donald Trump has made some bold and sweeping claims during his second conference since being elected in November. US President-elect Donald Trump has refused to rule out military or economic action to seize the Panama Canal and Greenland, as he said he believes NATO spending should be increased to 5% per member state. Speaking at Mar-a-Lago, Florida, Mr. Trump made a series of sweeping claims on what his policies could look like when he takes office on 20th of January. He said he believes NATO spending should be increased to 5% per member state, while he also declared US control of Greenland and the Panama Canal as vital to American national security. The 78-year-old Republican also spoke of relations with Canada, as well as addressing his position on the Middle East and the war in Ukraine. Now, history is littered with reshaping the country's borders, and I'm all for that to continue. I'd love to see Canada become another US state. I'd love to see Greenland join the US. There's even talk of Mexico. The country's borders have always changed throughout history. I'd love to see it. And I'm actually really looking forward to the 20th of January. Over to Brian, says, yes, Matt, lots of channels have reported the Jess Phillips and political scandal going on for decades. Everything we have been harping on about for years, suddenly as if they didn't know already. Yes. I'm suddenly talking about it. I mean, yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Brian, because I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody else, but that was one of the reasons I became involved in the truth movement. I mean, what on earth are we doing allowing paedophiles and perverts to rule over us? And of course, those allegations reached the very highest of the British establishment, including our leading family. And it does seem we're turning full circle now, especially with Elon Musk shining light on this subject. And then we're going to be going back to the position we were a decade ago, saying, right, evidence suggests that the great and good are actually the most vile and evil in society. So what are we going to do about that as a nation, as a population? What are we going to do with the stark raving truth in our faces that the great and good are actually the most evil and vile? Do we just carry on allowing the most evil and vile to rule us? Or do we do something about it? Do we maintain the status quo, knowing full well that the status quo are committing the most despicable crimes, not only against us as adults, but also against children? Do we maintain that status quo, full in the knowledge that by maintaining it, children will die? And they will die in horrific circumstances? Or do we do something about it? Do we change the status quo, smash it up, and do something different? I imagine you know how I feel on the subject. Effect change through knowledge, says Brian. Be dumb to let it go. We're coming up to the hour, everyone. Thanks ever so much for joining me. A big thank you to Brian in the chat. Thanks for joining us, Brian, and thanks for Jake. I'm going to do more of these, of course. I'll get into the flow. I'm loving my my Alexa. Let's just see if Alexa can say hello to you. Alexa, will you say hello to the audience?
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Yeah, I just want to introduce you to the audience. Would you like to say hello? Alexa, would you like to say hello and introduce yourself to the audience?
From unsaw.edu.au. Greet the audience and introduce yourself, even if they already know you.
Well, listen, Alexa is a bit new to this live stream and she isn't particularly...
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
It's okay, Alexa. You can go back to sleep now. Yeah, she isn't quite, you know, she hasn't done YouTubing before. She's a bit nervous, right? But as time goes on, I'll introduce her to you. And, you know, I like to think she'll become a good co-host. It would be dumb to know about it and not speak about it, or worse, deny it and shame people who talk about it like a big bully. No way, expose all of it. Thanks ever so much, Brian, because I think that's what's happened. I think that's what's happened over the last 10 years. People have spoken about it. For example, Jake, one of those people, has spoken about it. But a lot of people deny it and then shame people like Jake for talking about it. Good God, love, bless my friend, colleague, Starlight. The truth doesn't fear investigation. There you go. The only thing that fears investigation are lies. And we have been enduring a decade of people knowing about it, but not talking about it, and actually denying it and shaming people who do talk about it. And I like to think we're coming to the end of that now. And it has taken Elon Musk to do what so many people are scared of doing, and that's to speak up, regardless of the consequences. And of course, it helps being a billionaire to cushion you from the consequences of speaking the truth. A lot more people would speak out if they had the resources that Elon Musk has to protect themselves from the big feet smashing through their windows, so to speak. Decades. I mean, it can be argued we've been living in this kind of like in this mindset for centuries. But anyway, I'm going to say goodbye. Thanks ever so much for Jake and Brian PC for coming in. I'll save the rest for later. Okay, I'll save the rest for later. So I hope everyone has a good day, and thank you for joining me on today's Perusing the News with MattTaylorTV. It's Wednesday, the 8th of January, 2025, and it's approximately 11:21. We'll round off the show, and I'd like to see you again soon. Again, a big thanks for Brian and Jake for joining me today. Until the next time, keep perusing the news.
my cup of tea. Flipped on the telly, it's time to see what's shaking the world from east to west. Matt Taylor's here, he knows the rest. From politics to crazy trends, breaking stories never bends. He's got a take you won't forget. Tune in now, don't miss it, yes. We're perusing the news with a twist or two. Matt's got the views, giving headlines a do. From the front lines to the offbeat cues, it's a wild ride through the world's best news. Scandals triumph, laughs and cries. Matt's perspective cuts through the lies. A voice, a reason, or maybe bold. Every story's got a nugget of gold. From bright and streets to faraway lands, Matt's unique take always stands. He's got the pulse, he's got the vibe, bringing the news alive, alive. We're perusing the news with a twist or two. Matt's got the views, giving headlines a do. From the front lines to the offbeat cues, it's a wild ride through the world's best news. So grab a seat, let's dive in deep. No story too big, no stone will sleep. Unfolding truth with a playful grin. Matt Taylor Show, it's where we begin. We're perusing the news with a twist or two. Matt's got the views, giving headlines a do. From the front lines to the offbeat cues, it's a wild ride through the world's best news. Yeah, we're perusing the news, and Matt Taylor's got the clues.
Hello dear world, my name is Matt Taylor and I am 8 years old, and when I grow up I want to be a YouTuber.
Matt's got the views, giving headlines a do. From the front line to the offbeat cues, it's a wild ride through